Welcome to the John Doe Radio Show today. A beautiful Friday in the Mile High. Thank you very much for hanging out with us on the show today. With us, going to have Steve Elliott, the WB himself. William Breathes just walked in from westward.com. Hope you appreciated that nickname I just gave you. Perfect nickname, I guess. Wait, the wrong mic. Damn it. Mic 4, not 3. There we go.
I wonder how the WB network would take that. I should have just blatantly stolen their logo.
I know. Let me hold on. Maybe make sure I get this over here so we don't catch you
Leaning in.
There's actually a T-shirt out with their logo on it that says, "Warner, if you see the police, Warner Brother."
Oh, that's good.
Warner Brother. If you see the police, Warner Brother. It is
awesome.
It is Friday in the Mile High. Thank you very much for hanging out with us on the John Doe Radio Show. It is the 20th January. You can check us out at live.johndoeradio.com and also pick up anything that you did miss at johndoeradio.com/johndoeradio.com. I gave out. There's
Like
two.
there has to be a slash there?
There's two websites.
Just a slash.
There's two live websites. I wanted to go on to the next one. I haven't slept that much this week, so it's all good. No worries. So, we got some fantastic stories I'm sure to talk about today. No, not really. There's a lot of craziness going on. In fact,
A lot of craziness, yeah.
I don't even know where to start. The thing of it is, like, I don't even... There's a million different things. In fact...
A billion.
Did you hear this morning again that the man himself, I heard, and this is secondhand, I heard this, the man himself, Rob Corey, went on record again saying that...
It's a bluff?
Of course you are going to bluff a bluff, or whatever, Of course you're going to, go up against a bluff and not admit it's a bluff. And
Well, I saw that in the Westward comments today, but whether or not it's the real Rob Corey making that comment, I don't know. But he wrote that on the follow-up that Mike Roberts wrote this morning.
Oh, it was just on the follow-up.
That's where hold on, I just saw it before I came into the studio today.
Oh, maybe that's where they were talking about it from.
It says, okay, here, if this is Rob Corey. It says, quote, "I don't know much, but I do know if you're bluffing, you don't admit to bluffing. That's the point of a bluff. There are 1,000 dispensaries, grows, centers, and edible manufacturers in Colorado, and the U.S. attorney can't go after all of them with his resources. He will then only go after some, which is selective/discriminatory enforcement, providing a legal defense to any he does go after, and creating the appearance of corruption and favoritism. Bring it on."
Yeah, I mean,
if that was really Rob Corey.
If that's really Rob Corey. Yeah, exactly.
So...
It may sound like the bed's really loud in your ears, but it's not. I just got to get.
I actually can't even hear myself. We got
this new system, and I've yet to spend some time dialing it in.
Clearly.
3 or 4 days. I could have had it here, probably, but that's all right. I need to dial this one down up there and this one down over here. That's all right. The dang old thing it sounds good, though. I mean, I listened yesterday, back through a couple of the shows and stuff, so anyway. And, so that's that letter issue that we talking about. And I'm sure Steve Elliott, we're going to get him on the phone here in a few minutes. We'll have some of his stuff to talk about. Mm-hmm. What else is sitting in our plate that we have to sit here and deal with? We still have licensing that's coming through.
Yeah, shops are still getting licensed. Aspen shops are trying to figure out... what's going on up in Aspen, in Pitkin County, I should say, which is right. It's where Aspen, Colorado is located, for those of you who don't know, but unincorporated Pitkin County. Back in June, the county commissioners there decided that they weren't going to do anything. They weren't going to regulate marijuana in any way. They weren't going to approve it. They weren't going to deny it, nothing. Said they were going to leave it up to the state. Well, the problem with that is when you leave it up to the state, they say that because you have no local licensing, then they can't license you. So all of the shops and grows and everything in unincorporated Pitkin County were facing being shut down.
Yeah.
So they met this week, and it sounds like the county commission is going to have a change of ideas on that one, and they're going to possibly be allowing these places and licensing them.
Didn't the same thing happen? Isn't it the same type of thing happening in kind of Boulder too? Like Boulder had some emergency meeting here recently. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was to it was for licensing or something. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, there was something going on with we may not be talking about the exact same thing, but there's a shop I reviewed a few weeks back called The Station, and they had this weird thing going on with them that the city didn't have an issue with their with their shop. They had some issue with their grow and where it was. And so they were coming up on this issue of, well, if we shut down a grow, then we're shutting down the MMC as well because they're connected. And they didn't want to do that.
I just read your hat.
Yeah, you like it?
He has a hat on.
It's a good one.
It's just it's a Western picture kind of with a guy holding a gun up to another guy that's sitting on an ass, and then it just says, "Get off my ass."
Yeah, I love this hat.
It just made my day, dude.
Here, you can show everyone on the camera.
I'll show the cam, the good peeps. Sorry to interrupt you there, but I just thought that was funny. I couldn't stop laughing. Like, I knew you were gonna.
You should have seen me when I first found this thing. I was rolling over at the flea market.
I would be. That's where
Mile High Flea Market, by the way. That place is awesome. I think they've changed the name of it. It's called Mile High Marketplace to fool people. But it's still a flea market. There's still ghetto shit there.
Of course you would have got that from a flea market, dude. Of course you would have got that from a flea market.
Dude, I love Mile High. I love that place. I'm serious, and this is like a completely unsolicited plug because who would really plug a flea market? But you can find some awesome stuff out there, and really good veggies too in the summertime. The market out on the sides.
The fresh.
Oh God, onions as big as your head.
Really?
I'm looking forward to spring and summer now.
Dang, man.
This
See,
weather,
I used to
no
go down
doubt.
to the flea market all the time, dude. Me and the fam used to head down there. Went back when I was little, but really I haven't been to the flea market in such a long time.
Dude, it's worth it.
I did like a flea market show live. Like I talked about it before, like a swap shop. You know, have you ever, and Howard Stern, he'll like call up and bug the Tradio people or the swap shop people and like prank them, the garage sale.
Oh, God.
Like someone calls in and they're like, hey, I got like 5 sticks of dynamite. No, I'm kidding. Like, for real, no, sometimes. I got 4 bikes and 3 of them don't have chains. 1 of them don't have tires. And I'll take anything for them. And my number is 555-55-5-55-55. And you're like, all right. That's good
call 'em
times.
up.
You'd be all BSing with them. Some people would just be doing it dry, but I'd BS with them. And
We should do that.
We should have a show like that, a nationwide.
We should just call dispensaries and ask questions like,
We could have a.
do you guys have trichomes?
No. We could have a dispensary swap shop. Is what we could have, dude. A dispensary swap shop, like a serious business type situation. If we could get,
I kind of like the idea of prank calling them though.
but prank call, we could do that
funny.
too. I'm just thinking of business wise here too. You know, and then, like
I hear you.
You never know
what people don't think of is like there's brand new licensing in this industry, and if you can think of a way to get a new section licensed, you know what I'm saying? Like cleanup or whatever it is. If you can like sit down and pitch to like the MMED or whatever, and they issue a license, and you become like the only one that's doing that at that time, or like you help form that. Oh man, that could be really, really, really that could work really in the positive favor of yourself and your friends.
I thought about a pipe cleaning business for a bit, but my wife nixed the idea.
Why? 'Cause she didn't like the smell.
Dude, every time I clean a pipe, she's running down in the basement. I can smell it up here where you close the door to the laundry room.
It's
Oh,
pretty
whoa, let me
rank.
see that Bubs. What is that?
Dude, I used to.
Oh, it's an oil rig.
Yeah, the little oil rig.
That's pretty
You haven't
rad.
seen my Joel Halen yet, have you?
No, is it here?
No.
It's the second week that I've heard about it. And out of 3 and it's not here.
You got to come in. You
I
got to
brought
come.
weed and
We
everything.
have this one ready for you.
You gotta come to the
have
casa.
some
I'll take a
dabs.
dab. I didn't bring any
Okay.
wax this
We've
week.
got
though. I'm
plenty.
sorry. I've got a really nice chunk of some.
What flavor would
I don't
you
take
like?
any. I don't take any. I mean, you can definitely hand to him. Just
I know.
the. I don't smoke any flour through my Joel Halen though. So
never smoke.
yeah, it's an oil piece. Strictly
This
oil.
is a beautiful little bubbler, though. I've never seen this
That's
before.
Phil. That's Phil's.
This is great.
All right, let's get on some commercials, and then we're gonna give Steve Elliott a
Oh, it's a
call
nice
here.
little treehouse, though.
Big thanks to our sponsors. Big massive thanks to our sponsors. A Cut Above, make sure you check them out. 1911 South Broadway in Denver. $165 ounces. First-time patients receive member pricing and a free pre-roll. 15 strains at $25. tons of edibles, Chiba Chews 2 for $15, Blue Kudu, Dr. J's, and more. Tons of glass, oil rigs, bubblers, spoons, etc. Very reasonably priced. That's a cut above in Denver, 1911 South Broadway. Make sure you holler at them. And
I reviewed that shop once. They had some damn good herb.
dude, Debo is the man.
Yeah.
They've
Jake
got the
over
white
there.
right now.
Dude, I love the white.
Tell him the John O Radio Show sent you. Every sponsor, be sure to tell them the John O Radio Show sent you, because I'm sure there's people going into these shops stuff, not saying, hey, we heard you on the John O Radio Show. They're just, going in there and getting their thing. And sometimes people don't want to chit-chat sometimes, and let you give out
we should make friends, man.
Yeah, give out one detail that you listen to the John O Radio Show and you heard it there and you support us and all that good times.
Maybe even get like a free lighter or something.
Yeah, something like
Like
that.
the friend hookup. You never
They'll
know.
hook you up. Oh, if you tell them for the.
They're gonna totally kill me for saying that. And I don't even know these people.
Yeah, it's cool.
You never know, though.
You never
All
know.
our
They were nice
sponsors-
people when
all
I
our
was in.
sponsors will take care of you if you tell them from the John O Radio Show. So check them out. A cut above 1911 South Broadway. Good times, people. Also, Rare Dankness. Do not miss Rare Dankness. Oh my goodness, the rare dankness
Some rarities there.
is awesome. Make sure you go to raredankness.com to check out that, and also 970-812-DANK. 970-812-DANK is the hotline to call if you would like to get Rare Dankness in your shop. The seeds, that is, in your shop. And you also may, hey, maybe if you want him to grow for you, and you got this the package to put. Did you almost light yourself on fire?
No, this thing is on turbocharge mode.
I'm
Even
telling
though
you,
it's
you
low.
almost lit yourself on fire there. They could put together a package for you. Maybe they could. Maybe they work somehow. Who knows? All right. Good times at the John Doe Radio Show. Make sure you do support our sponsors. Please do support our sponsors. As we support you here on the John Doe Radio Show by giving you as much information as we possibly can, coming in here every day, doing our thing. And I know that's expected, but we also, I'd like to think that it's also a public service. So please help us out. Stay a public service. Please keep a roof over my head.
Roofs are good.
I love a roof over my head. You're not looking for a roommate, are you? Oh, you're married.
Yeah. Sorry, dude.
Damn.
It's like, no roommates no more.
You caught me 5 years ago. Fuck yeah, dude.
Good
Sorry. I keep
Hey, you can
I'm a
say-
sailor. It's my Friday.
It's Friday. Who cares?
And I've already gotten off work.
It's the internet.
Done working today.
Might be a few shops that play us that might not appreciate it. But that's the only big reason why I wouldn't. Also, wouldn't want to offend the ladies' ears.
No, the little babies, too. Little babies. There may be little babies listening right now. Maybe people are babysitting right now and they're listening to the John Doe Radio Show. And there's little babies around.
Is Lil Phil at home? Okay, see.
Conscious-
Lil Phil's listening.
Cannabis conscious little babies, but they don't need to hear me cursing.
Exactly. I'm kidding. All right, it's the John Doe Radio Show. We do it live. I'm going to get to Steve Elliott here and talk with him. I cannot wait. One of my favorite conversations of the week. Both you and Steve. Great. Love having you guys in. So, all right, check us out, johndoeradio.com. Make sure you check out everything that Will does. Westward.com/latestword, mile highs and lows. He also writes some news articles for the Westward that are fantastically great, too. So check that out.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, dude. I think I've always been a fan of you. Always been a supporter of the WB.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. It's been a busy week. I'm working on a cool feature that I won't give too many hints about, but
Damn it. Maybe we'll have to.
You should see it out here in the print edition
Torture
really
you.
soon. I hope.
Cool. Sweet, dude.
I'll give you a few hints. It has to do with smoking marijuana.
No
and,
kidding.
And
You think?
high alpine environments.
Aw.
Yeah.
You
like
got to
this
take me
account?
to this kind of stuff, man.
Up on chairlifts, maybe.
Damn.
Can you ski?
I can snowboard.
Well, then, all right.
I can snowboard pretty well.
All right. Well, let's get on this.
All right. It's the John Doe Radio Show. We'll be right back. Steve Elliott.
Platte Valley Medical Marijuana Center in Denver has some of the most affordable prices anywhere. Don't believe us? Call them 303-953-0295. That's 303-953-0295. Or just head down and visit them. Trust us. Located at 2301 7th Street, Unit B, across from the Denver Aquarium. Great people who care about a fine selection of meds and a wide variety of extracts from top shelf extracts. With daily specials like Monday Madness with premium strain specific joints for only $1 $1 when they're normally $3. Wax Wednesday with all wax for $15 a gram when normally $20 a gram. And during the NFL playoffs, Platte Valley is running a special on select ounces for just $125 and select $15 eighths, not bottom shelf strains either. You didn't miss what I just said. $125 ounces and $15 select eighths, not bottom shelf strains either. Don't miss one of the busiest and most convenient dispensary locations in Denver, Platte Valley Medical Marijuana Center, located at 2301 7th Street, Unit B, 303-953-0295. And until January 15th, everyone gets patient prices at $25 eighths and $150 ounces. Platte Valley Medical Marijuana Center. Mad Hatter Smoke Shop has got your high-quality, American-made, unique pieces and some of the best scientific glass available anywhere. Artists and companies like Mike Fro, Cowboy, Zob, Royal, and D-Rock with some of the best products the Mile High State has to offer. Treehouse, Joel Halen, Worm, Tricky, and more. Mad Hatter Smoke Shop also carries Sheldon Black, one of the highest names in glass standards. Don't miss out on the Holy Water Style Collection either. Our friend John Waters offers his line of shirts, jackets, hats, and skateboards for men and women. Mad Hatter Smoke Shop for everything the JDR Army needs. Mention JDR or John Doe Radio and get 20% off. 20%! Visit MadHatterSmokeShop.com or email store@MadHatterSmokeShop.com for inquiries. Mad Hatter Smoke Shop, 6091 West Colfax Avenue in Denver, 303-953-7015. Store at MadHatterSmokeShop.com, 6091 West Colfax Avenue, Denver, Colorado, 303-953-7015. Trouble with the law? Or maybe you're looking to start a medical marijuana business? The law firm of Edson, Mayton, and Matz can help. Attorneys Warren Edson, Lauren Mayton, and Chris Matz offer a wide range of criminal defense-related assistance and cannabis legal services. Call the team of legal professionals ready to help you or your business out today. 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or check out the website, warrenedson.com. That's warrenedson.com. Under Pink House Blooms, you will find some of Colorado's most respected and popular cannabis centers, including the Cherry Company at 111 Madison Street, the Pearl Company at 1445 Pearl Street, and the Teapot Lounge at 2008 Federal. You have heard the amazing products available from Nika T and his solventless wax and hashes from his appearances on John Doe Radio, and now you get to know about the amazing ISO hash made by our good bud Stephen Lewis. This ISO wax cannot be beat, and I challenge you to find a better product. But not only are the products great, but just as I need in my personal caregiver, the service is friendly and personable too. Pink House Blooms and its stores are proud to carry essential extracts, rare dankness, and hoodlum and vector products. All stores are open from 10 to 7 every day, with daily specials like Tuesday, 2-for-1 joints, Warehouse Wednesdays, where they weigh all Pink House grown meds at 4-gram eighths all day long. Thursdays, buy one edible, get the other half off, and Sundays, let's just say, they make it rain. And remember, industry employees get a discount at patient pricing. The Cherry Company on 111 Madison Street, 303-399-6337. The Pearl Company at 1445 South Pearl Street, 303-733-6337. And the Teapot Lounge at 2008 Federal, 303-656-9697. Pink House Blooms.
John Doe Radio.
My God, it's fun.
John Doe.
Good times on the John Doe Radio Show. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. Sitting here with our good friend William Breathes from Westward.com.
Hi.
Sorry again about all the headphone action. It does sound a little bit crazy and a little bit loud and funky, and it's all right.
It's all right. I enjoy music.
I know. Just not.
I've been making music lately on GarageBand.
You've been making music on GarageBand?
Have you ever played with that program? It's like monkeys could make music on it.
Yeah, I've played with it a little bit.
It's kind of fun.
Sounds fun. Maybe we should have GarageBand Day in here.
GarageBand Day.
God dang, see?
That thing is so loud.
Whoa.
Hold on.
Steve's going to come on booming.
Hello.
Hey, Steve Elliott, you're live on the John Doe Radio Show. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How's it going, JDR?
It's going good. I thank God you saved us there, because the Skype was louder than shiz. I think it was going to think I about blew out my eardrums. Will, do you think that was about loud enough to blow out your eardrums?
I had the headphones pulled away. I was so scared.
See, the thing is, the people on the other end have no clue what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So really, this is pointless to go, and we should just ignore it. And I should fix the problem rather than sit here and talk about this. Steve Elliott with us on the phone. He's a fantastic dude. Does tokeofthetown.com. We also have William Breathes in studio with us from westward.com/mile highs and lows. Also does news and other great, awesome stuff for Westward. So it's fantastic to have you guys. You guys are also partnered with Village Voice Media.
Yes.
Hey, Will. Hey, Tim.
Hey, man. How are you?
Good.
Has the snow passed? Are you guys digging yourself out up there?
We're still kind of snowed in right now, but it's above freezing and starting to melt. I hear the sounds of snow shovels outside, but I'm not tempted to join in.
I know that drill.
The sounds of snow shovels outside. Yeah, honestly, that's kind of one of those soothing things. For me. Like I love
The scraping of concrete?
No, I love snow, like in a way. Like I love that first night of the year that it snows.
Yeah,
And we
totally.
usually here in Colorado and Denver, wherever you are, usually the first snow is kind of a good snow. Especially when it gets, at least when it's just, you get that one snow of the first snow of the year where everything just kind of quiets down and it's dead.
I do love the quiet of the snow, but apparently, what was your final total there on your front lawn, Steve? Sorry, I'm interested in
looks
weather.
No,
like
it's cool.
it must have been around 6 inches out here. I think
Wow.
some places got closer to 12.
And you guys just aren't used to that, huh?
No, it's substantial.
That's amazing.
We get like 3 feet up in the mountains, man. At one time, up at the Steamboat, jeez, dude, it was crazy one year. 550 plus inches that I was up there one year. Gee,
Good
No,
times.
that's snow.
that's
Yeah.
that's just yeah. That's to a point where they were bringing in these specially made burners, like these heaters, so where they were like a big old trash dumpster, and a front loader would come in and load up all the snow because there was no room to put it anywhere after
Just melt it.
after like shoveling it all up and on the streets and everything, and would just load it into this thing that would just melt the snow right back into the river. It's
Wow.
crazy.
Oh, man.
Anyway, nothing about the snow.
Probably there's no water shortage, at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, dude, water rights in Colorado. Don't touch my whiskey, my water, my land, my weed.
Yeah.
It's pretty much how it goes. All right, Steve.
Whiskey,
So
water, and weed, the 3 W's.
exactly, it's always like that, man. And here at oil and gas in some areas of Northwest Colorado, because then you get up into that Wyoming sort of oil field area. So anyway, what do you got for us this week, Steve? Any the big stories that you're covering?
Encouraging news from Arizona,
That's
where
good.
we have a judge, Maricopa County Superior Court judge, telling Governor Brewer she needs to get on the ball and get those marijuana dispensaries open
Nice.
in Arizona. Of course, it's been a while since the people in 2010 approved medical marijuana there, and there are still no functional dispensaries because Governor Jan Brewer's been dragging her feet and filing that ridiculous federal lawsuit that she got slapped down on just recently. And now she has the order from the local judge there that they need to stop putting roadblocks in the way and actually get on with it.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like a pretty decent request to me. I mean,
It's not unreasonable, and as the judge pointed out, when voters approved this back in November 2010, part of the language of the bill was that it should be implemented within 120 days.
oh man.
And here we are in 2012, and still nothing as far as legal, safe access, dispensary-wise. They have the rule that you can grow for yourself if you're more than 25 miles from the nearest dispensary. So, of course, right now, every patient in the state is eligible to grow because there are no dispensaries. And there's about 18,000 patients so far in Arizona.
Wow.
I don't know what they think with it. Is it out of sight, out of mind there with that situation? Like, I don't see these 18,000 grows, so I don't care.
That's
Yeah, that
ridiculous.
must be it. And as long as there's not a storefront with a leaf on the window or something, then that think that everything's okay.
Yeah, keep Dr. Reefer out. We don't want him in there. That's what their whole idea is. No,
Yeah.
we want him there, damn it. We want... It bugs me so much when we go to these hearings and you hear the soccer moms and soccer dads and just really just uptight people I'm not even saying that if you're a soccer mom, soccer dad, that you're an uptight person, but just uptight people coming in and talking about the signage of places and they don't want to see weed leaves and stuff. It's like, so you have no problem with the neon naked lady sign on the strip club like 2 miles away from your house? Or I mean, maybe you do, but it's just
the level of hypocrisy reminds me of when I was growing up in Alabama, in a dry county.
Oh yeah.
And even when you did drive like to where there was a wet county, they couldn't put beer or whiskey on the window of the liquor store. They had to call it a package store in Alabama.
Wow.
Because, you know, saying beer or whiskey would just be too offensive, I guess, to some of the churchgoers.
Really?
So it's the same kind of scenario now with dispensaries where they're not supposed to say cannabis or marijuana or put a pot leaf in the window. It's just silly. People need to get over it.
That is really silly. Wow. I didn't know that. That's interesting. It's so funny too, because here in Denver, I feel like all the school, like off of Colfax, we got East High School right there, and I'm sure all those parents are like, we send our children to a school off of Colfax, which is, you know, like our kind of shady street here in Denver. They already know what's going on around there. I'm sure the medical marijuana dispensaries are the least of their worries.
Yeah.
There was
Some of those kids
in
are the
Colorado
most-
Springs, actually. Sorry, I don't mean to.
That's okay.
There's that guy in Colorado Springs, the school in Colorado Springs, who said it was a charter school, and they're like, the medical marijuana dispensary across the street from us doesn't bother us at all. You know, they're good neighbors to have. They got a lot of security cameras. Like, was totally sticking up for them. It's the hypocrisy is just awful.
I would imagine that the taxes that those dispensaries pay in, some of that ends up in the school. So if I were one of the school administrators, I'd be definitely supporting the businesses that support me.
I agree. Maybe get some new basketball uniforms out of it for the kids or something.
Yeah, or cheerleader uniforms, whatever.
I agree. I like the second one.
Dude, and there's an interesting fact that's being passed around here in Colorado. It's like what is that guy's name that fired back at Rob Corey yesterday? Is he one of the state attorneys? Oh, fark. I can't remember the name. The guy's
John Walsh?
Yeah. Because I knew it sounded like the American Most Wanted guy or whatever, or something like that. Anyway, this guy is firing off these numbers of how he keeps hearing about this student and this student and this student, 30 students or however, whatever he said about going and getting medical marijuana from patients that are going and getting medical marijuana from dispensaries. And that's his big fight in like the whole getting dispensaries away from schools right now. Like when last night, actually, let's go ahead and start this story from the beginning because we were talking about Rob Corey a little bit earlier in the show. Rob Corey went on. He's one of the big lawyers here in Colorado that has to do with marijuana. Went off and fired off a comment about how the feds were bluffing, and I was wrong there, talking about the state attorney general or whatever. I was really meaning the feds. But how the feds were bluffing. And then John Walsh, the Fed comes on last night into the news and says, we're not bluffing, trust me. And seriously, I mean, this is very rare this guy comes out to say anything. Very rare that a person gets addressed directly, such as, you know, Rob Corey is. But still getting addressed, you know, directly as it is. And this funky, interesting situation.
Means they're reading our stuff.
Yeah, no, Westward. Funky, interesting situation building here in Colorado to where we have to. I mean, I don't know, man. It feels like, I don't know, a rain of fire may be coming down on us very, very soon if certain people don't just.
I think the U.S. attorney there, he now feels directly challenged to, to walk the walk since he talked the talk, and I think it's unfortunately a pretty sure thing that there is going to be some enforcement action at some point. I don't think they're just bluffing. I know Rob Corey has a right to his opinion, and I'm sure he had good reasons for saying what he did, but I think now more than ever that they do plan to make some kind of a show of force. Yeah, and that's what's frustrating, as we were saying a minute ago, too, and using the children as an excuse. Again, the number one thing they come in flying with all the time, and it's my biggest pet peeve in the war on drugs, is using children and against this whole thing, because it's
the parents that should be parenting should be doing their jobs and not leaving it up to the government. It's
I agree.
like it's like these parents have, and it's funny because it's some of the most responsible parents, it seems like, that sit here and you know, bitch at the government or whatever, have problems with these medical marijuana dispensaries, and are trying to intend to be responsible and do the right thing, but then they've been brainwashed for so long, they're actually soldiers and robots of, you know, the other side of the drug warriors, and everything they're doing has these just ridiculous unintended consequences, exactly the opposite of what they're wanting. So, but they don't realize
it really is kind of strange, because some of them, if you put it to them in slightly different terms, like if you ask them, do you want the government really telling you how you should rear your children, they would get mad and say, you know, hell no, we don't want the government telling us to do how to do personal things like that. Well, it's the same thing here. They just don't see it yet because they're so spooked by this marijuana bugaboo that they think is going to come get their kids.
Yeah, it's it bugs the crap out of me. But all we can say here is to continue to fight it. That's all we can do. Any other news?
There's some good news out of Michigan, where today they had a press conference in Detroit to officially kick off their campaign to legalize marijuana in Michigan. And they would join Colorado in having an actual amendment to the state constitution if that effort is ultimately successful. So they would, I guess, be the second state to you guys to have it in the state constitution. The complete repeal of marijuana prohibition is what this would represent. It would take all state laws off the books.
Wow.
Yeah, medical marijuana.
They said that it would leave, you know, as far as driving under the influence or workplace issues, those wouldn't be affected. But everything else, possession and use of marijuana, growing, would be legal.
And I can see in a state like Michigan, where the economy's been hurting for so long, people can see so much business opportunities out of that. And I hope it passes.
There's a real chance.
I agree.
If they can qualify for the ballot, because look at the way the state voted on the medical marijuana issue, just, you know, a couple years ago. 63% statewide, and that's pretty massive. I mean, that's
huge.
Bigger than any other state I'm aware of. Montana was 62 when they voted it in. Michigan at 63. I don't think any state has ever passed medical marijuana by a wider margin, and that represents broad-based support across the state. Every single county in the state of Michigan voted majority in favor of medical marijuana when they had their vote.
There's
That's
still
awesome.
areas though that are extremely conservative and have still like pushed back against medical marijuana. You know, the first city in Michigan banned medical marijuana, Wyoming or whatever it was, like it's Wyoming, Michigan. So I mean, it is an interesting state in the fact that it's got so many damn people. That there's a lot of people in that state, and it's kind of hard sometimes to guess a direction of their political goings on. Like I think a lot of people were surprised at that number that when that came out, because you know there's also a big Islamic community in Michigan. I think it's the biggest community in America is up there in Michigan. I could be completely wrong,
Well,
but
they'll just have to hear the right information, the
But
good
you know what?
information.
That also makes sense though, because in Islam, you know, alcohol is extremely, you know, prohibited, and
Right.
marijuana isn't necessarily. And I could be wrong in that, and I'm sure that I in some circles am wrong. But I also know that, you know, in Morocco and in other places, and in all my friends that have you know, followed that faith, have been more, you know, of stonerish, hashishi type people. So you know, it's good times. I don't know though how this next year is going to play out. I'm scared for us here in Colorado, in the fact that Fort Collins banned medical marijuana dispensaries, was one of the most positive places that we had in Colorado, as far as, you know, hoping to have a majority vote for legalization, still keep that stronghold of medical marijuana, you know, in. And it's a little bit spooky because we have this just line down the middle of our state of spots where there's really heavy, dense populations that we really are going to need to rely on in order for legalization to go through, because both the west and the east of us are extremely conservative, and it's really hard to get them to follow along with us. And just that combination of people is crazy. We still got the ski towns the combination of people is just crazy amount of numbers, and we still got the ski towns. But I don't know. It's going to be an interesting year. I just want somebody to pass it.
Yeah.
We've got a comparable situation here in Washington where most of the pro-marijuana vote is here on the coast, up and down the West Coast. And you go farther east in the state, and it gets pretty conservative pretty quickly.
Yeah, where all the farmers
What
are.
could happen, though, of course, is that the conservative people could also cast their vote against Washington, D.C., and against federal interference by voting for marijuana legalization. So that could work for us.
Yeah, people need to really understand what the bigger issue is sometimes in these trying times that we're in. What could possibly change and snowball? You never know. I mean, all of a sudden we ended up with this. I think the bill's pretty much been defeated. I don't think it'll get signed as is, but the internet bill that was going across that could have censored out, basically almost everything on the internet. It could have given the feds buck wild to go crazy on everybody. I mean, we would have probably been one of the first people they shot down. And
the thing is, once they, if they want you, they can find some violation or other to get you on. And under the language of that bill, it would have made things really dangerous for any sort of site that pissed off the feds, because then they would start combing through all your pages until they could find some obscure violation here or there.
Yeah.
And under the language of the bill, they could just shut you down. So that's not anything we want to happen. But back in Michigan, it's kind of odd because a reporter from the Detroit Metro Times, Kim Herron, told me that their attorney general has so badly overreached in his fight against medical marijuana. Bill Schuette is his name. And he has abused the rights of patients and just run roughshod over the rights of the collective owners there. He has everybody so mad and so stirred up that the reporter there at the Detroit paper told me that he thinks that's going to be working in favor of the legalization drive.
Yeah.
Because Schuette has everybody so mad there.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, too, here in Colorado, is that if we keep having these... If the feds come in and start trying to shut down the dispensaries and they really force the situation and force the hand that goes forward, that'll put the black market more in a highlighted manner. I mean, in an extremely high market, highlighted. If you shut down dispensaries here in Colorado, in Denver, oh my God! Like the amount.
Same thing for Seattle.
I can't even imagine. And it's like, the people are going to see that. They're going to notice that. They're going to see that there's this difference between, oh wait, we had this business going on that we regulated, and hey, you come in here and shut it down, and now we got everybody that's growing back in their basement again, selling, on the corners. I mean, it sounds way worse than it is. I mean, who cares if you're growing in your basement? Who cares if somebody goes and hands a bag in the corner or whatever? This is weed we're talking about. But that's the way that the public is going to respond and hopefully fight back against the feds here in Colorado. I really believe that even the people that are against marijuana in a way would still be like, hey, get the fuck out of here, man. We don't need you. So hopefully that'll play positive come this November, and we can get this alcohol legalization or alcohol equalization initiative forward here in Colorado. It'd be awesome.
I think when some of the middle of the road folks start noticing the numbers as far as tax money coming in from the collectives, that might help them decide. And of course, with legalization, those numbers would be that would be more money in the public coffers for needed services. And right now, local governments and state government is hurting so bad for that money.
Yeah,
it's just crazy to turn it down and to drive all that back on the street, because we all know that one way or the other, the marijuana business is going to keep going. It's going to keep going.
Yep.
In the sunlight, or it's going to be underground. Either way, people are going to be buying pot. Is the government going to get a cut of that? Only if they're smart enough to do it. If they're too dumb to take a cut, then that's on them.
Yeah. The more and more I think about it, there's got to be some bigger conspiracy to this, because it just seems so crazy that things would be happening the way they're happening for so long. It's I was thinking about the political ramblings last night of the debate that went on, and I'm thinking to myself, and I wrote up on Facebook this long thing about how Ron Paul seems like he's the only brain that should be running this country right now, because of how the direction that we're headed, and the independent freedoms being taken away, states' rights issues, and just all this, man, and it drives me nuts because you hear the public crying out for freedom and crying out to have the country fixed, stop spending this money, but then they go elect Newt Gingrich, and Newt Gingrich is now the front runner of the Republicans, and it's like, how the hell did we get here? Like, I don't get it. I'm mind blown by how I hear one thing in the American public, on the news, on the internet, of how we want these freedoms, and then the next day you see this conservative guy or conservative practice being put forward, and it's like, dude, like, and it's the same people that are bitching about the country that are putting these things forward. Jeez,
I
man.
can only conclude that anybody who votes for Newt Gingrich has got to be deeply clueless on most of the major issues facing the country. Not only that, but they've got to be deeply clueless about his background, his corruption, the way that he was run out of Washington, D.C., basically on a pole, and fined $300,000 for all the wrongdoing he did while he was there. For this guy to step forward and, step to the head of the Republican PAC, that tells you what kind of a roster they have there, and the strength of the candidates across the board, that this clown would be their front runner.
Yeah. He was Speaker of the House when Bill Clinton was in office, right?
Yeah, he went head-to-head with Clinton a couple of times, shut the government down once.
I remember that. Yeah.
Made himself look bad.
I couldn't believe it when I heard that yesterday. When I heard all the craziness of the beginning of the day, how Rick Perry had dropped out, and then just the shuffling of the Republican race, I was like, there's something more to this. This is insane. It can't be. Anyway, that's beyond.
You got to remember
news.
that South Carolina we're dealing with, and you can't really expect anything different. They're next door neighbors there with Georgia, where Newt's from, so he's kind of the local favorite.
Yeah. Politics.
Politicking, man.
Anything else for us, Steve?
Just one other thing I wanted to mention. We have potentially good news in that the California Supreme Court has agreed to review that PAC case from Long Beach.
Yeah, we talked about
that
yesterday.
Where it was ruled that cities couldn't regulate medical marijuana dispensaries because they're against federal law. So that kind of put the whole industry in a shaky situation there. What's hopefully going to happen is that the Supreme Court will provide some sort of direction for regulation of the shops rather than, clearing the path to shut the whole industry down statewide in California.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because right now, it's like an inferno in certain areas. San Diego is... L.A. It's just it's a scary situation in California too. With
L.A. is talking about banning all the shops. You know, so this is not a good situation. So besides that PAC versus the city of Long Beach, the Supreme Court of California is also going to look at the Riverside case, City of Riverside versus Inland Empire Patients Health and Wellness Center, and that's the one where they said the lower court decision was that localities can legally ban medical marijuana distribution altogether within city limits, despite California's medical marijuana law. So that's a really bad decision too. I hope that the Supreme Court will be able to turn that one around. That's
an old case. Not an old case. Just that's a story that's been going on for, I think, since almost the beginning of California's cannabis industry started. Hasn't Riverside pretty much been battling?
It's been several years now. They've been thrashing that thing out.
Yeah. Maybe not one of the first, but I can't remember. I'm thinking. I got on the tip of my tongue. I have one of the first dispensary that was raided in California. We're just right here. We've talked with them before. I just can't remember. Dang it, off the top of my head. Anyway, that's interesting, and we're far from finishing our regulation here in Colorado too. So
yeah.
We got a whole nother legislative session that started up. That there's going to be just craziness coming out the whole time. I wish they wouldn't concentrate on the DUI issue is the thing.
I wish they'd work on some real issues.
Yeah, like solving the 35-day patient issue where the cards got locked up, maybe.
Or focus on things like education in Colorado and, infrastructure like our roads and bridges for once.
Things other than marijuana.
Other than marijuana, they're actually important right now.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be great if
the DUI feels
once.
like some sort of a last-ditch attempt to hold us back to me because, where is the epidemic of
stone drivers,
marijuana-intoxicated drivers causing accidents. I haven't seen that epidemic.
There isn't.
I haven't seen the news stories. I haven't seen anything about that. But suddenly they are manufacturing this concern and scaring people who don't know a lot about pot by telling them, look, the highways are going to become bloody with accidents caused by marijuana drivers. That's never happened in the 40 years that marijuana has been a part of popular culture in America, and it's just a red herring through and through.
Did it happen with alcohol, though?
Right. If the substance is actually dangerous, if it actually impairs driving and causes accidents, and it's a widely used substance in society, it becomes really painfully obvious very fast. And alcohol, which you just mentioned, that's the perfect example of that.
Yeah.
It's painfully obvious to everyone that drinking and driving is just a really stupid idea.
Mm-hmm.
And if pot did the same, it would be equally obvious.
And it took a big push to have DUIs really implemented in a lot of areas. It was literally bodies lining up on the side of the road from
some states.
The way that I've learned in some states how they had to implement, their DUIs and stuff. It's crazy. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
I mean, states like Texas, they fought it forever, and yeah, it's bad.
Texas.
Freaking alcohol, freaking booze.
Yeah, I'm not a big drinker. There was 3 months here, about 3 months ago. I was on a little tequila binge, but that was all right. We won't go back to that one. Not a big fan of alcohol. Why, if you're feeling down, you don't want to put a depressant in. That's one thing that I, want to tell people, and one thing that I've been told, that never made me want to drink alcohol. My dad was always telling me these stories of, how he had gone through these alcohol things and how it was like depressing. And if you're ever feeling bad, then you don't ever want to drink. Anyway, not saying alcohol is bad for you and you should be against alcohol. Just marijuana is safer.
It definitely is.
I think that's a slogan somewhere.
Marijuana is safer, so why are we driving people to drink? By Mason TeVert.
Was that what it is?
All right, Steve.
It's a heck of a book.
Yeah, my copy at home is sitting on my shelf. It's a lovely read, too, and so you maybe go pick it up and read it and pass it on to your friend. Maybe also go pick up yourselves, too, The Little Black Book of Marijuana by Steve Elliott. Pick that up on the internet, where amazing books are sold everywhere. Specific place.
And for the price of a joint, you can have that.
For the price of a doobie.
That's a pretty good price.
You had this is your blackout cover, wasn't it? Or no, it wasn't. You had some black oak thing. I don't know. I copied your blackout paper for the media thing online for Facebook. I thought it was your book cover for a second, and then I looked closer and it's not.
It's just solid black, yeah.
What the hell did somebody open my bag? Is that my bag that kid? Like, damn, because that was stanky.
Oh, well, maybe she did, but I got breaking up some OG in my hand right
That's
now.
what
Is
it
that
is.
what it is?
That's the OG. Steve, I think we're going to smoke some OG, and if we could smoke through the phone, I would smoke it with you.
I know that's right. It's Friday, so you guys are definitely entitled.
Thank you, man. And, hey, we'll probably have some great conversation over the weekend on Facebook. I love sitting down and following all your stuff. Yesterday, we used a lot of your news from tokeofthetown.com, so thank you very much for always your great help and also you're just never holding back. There was also a post that you had yesterday. You were like, FARC Visine and blah, blah, blah. And then every time I go look on Facebook, it was like the first thing I'd see was this F-bomb, and I'm like, I love Steve Elliott.
I repeated that to my wife when I saw it. I was like, look, honey, someone else feels like I do about Visine. Everyone always asks me.
I love lobbing those F-bombs.
On Visine, I never really needed it when I was in high school or when I first started smoking until I was like, became a real like head, and started smoking a ton of concentrates. Then my eyes started getting a little bit watery and red, but I never needed it. Like my eyes never really glazed over too much. The only person that ever knew I was ever high, up until a couple years ago, was my dad. My dad I could always tell, dude.
My dad can't even tell after I smoke a joint in front of him. Are you stoned?
Are you even high?
No, Dad. Yes, I just smoked a whole joint. What do you think?
So yeah, I've never really used Visine that much. So been a few times I've used it, but
I was always one of the stubborn people who said, no, I don't want that stuff.
Yeah, me too, man.
Be proud of your.
And then when
red
they
eye.
ask you for it, it's like your like little 3-second political stand. You're like, no, I don't need that. But I've carried that with me. I'm like you, Steve. Say no to Visine. Wear those red eyes like a badge.
Red Eye Jedi.
Absolutely.
Kush cologne outside. I walked up to the bank teller one time and she was like, "You know, you really smell." And I'm like, "Thank you."
I appreciate that.
All right, Steve, thank you very much, man. Make sure everybody check out tokeofthetown.com. I love having conversations with you every week. And have a great weekend, Steve.
You guys have a great weekend.
Adios, senor.
We'll see you, dude.
Bye.
Good times. Tokeofthetown.com. Always love talking with Steve.
He's a great dude.
Yeah. I think it makes me. I'm happy now because I'm like, damn, I could go home and even if I get a little lonesome, I know Steve's one of my night owls that I could sit up and just probably chat with, and he posts up a bunch of stuff and just BS with. I should BS with you more.
I'm always online.
You're always online. You're always on thing. I'm starting to get into commenting more. Like last night, I fired off tons of Facebook stuff, like my opinions, getting back into the whole just opinionated thing of things. And what started it was 9 News.
The Chris Barkowitz thing?
Bastards again. What the fuck? And I wish I could open TweetDeck on this thing, but it won't open today.
That was
for some reason.
kind of low.
Did you see that? You saw it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Who was it? It wasn't
a man when he's in prison.
Was it Jace Larson?
I don't know. I saw it.
It was ridiculous. It was like it wasn't.
And I'm
even,
not going to comment.
Here's the thing. It wasn't
anymore.
even.
It wasn't news, whatever. But it's like he's already in prison. He has nothing to do with dispensaries. It wasn't the first time someone got busted for weed in this state. Because it was really stretching for a lead in.
Because that's how they did it is. And it didn't even have any spot. They didn't say anything about this on the actual news story or in the news. But on Twitter, one of the news guys that from 9 Wants to Know tweets out, "This is how it all started." And then has the Chris Barkowitz story. And I was like, you mother... I thought we've talked about this a million damn... As I'm typing this out, I'm thinking in my head, we've sat here and talked about this a million damn times, face-to-face, through email, through Twitter. What the f is wrong with you, dude? Why are you doing... I was like, dude, why are... And he totally fired back this thing of like, we're not blaming Chris. Where does it say I blame Chris? It all started with this, and then you point back to the Barkowitz story. You can't even connect him to the letters that are going.
I'm just not even. Yeah,
the dude's in prison right now.
The only thing that started and finished was unfortunately Chris's case.
And Chris was the first Fed case, I'm sure. He had to be the first Fed case. In Colorado.
What it was is, and I can see it, it's the first one since dispensaries got big and medical marijuana became a topic on everyone's mind in Colorado, but that doesn't make it the first, and nor does it make it the start of everything, especially not these federal letters, because it's just not. It's just not. Right now, we've got so many...
The actual story... The actual story on 9 News was actually pretty fair, and it was pretty...
That's the thing about it
positive. But that's only because we've been so hard on them. I really feel like...
I guess it's...
Us, the John Doe Radio Show, specifically, too, has really affected the way that they've led into their stories, because I've led a few times, I think they've gotten... tons of phone calls after we've posted up, please call this hotline. Mm-hmm. Just like Warren posted last night about joking with me he was going to call the hotline and me being responsible for whatever. That's because we've done that before, and I know that we've had that newsroom. If you're getting 4 or 5 calls on a news story, that's a lot of calls, and you know that there's something up, at that point in time.
I agree.
And it means there's probably a ton of other people out there that the same thing. So anyway, I'm glad that they didn't run with it on the actual news or whatever, but still, 9 Wants to Know, and their whole, you are not police. You need to remember that sometimes, 9 Wants to Know.
Yeah. I will say this, the one thing with Twitter and Facebook is people, I'm not saying this was taken the wrong way, because I'm in complete agreement with you on this one. But that's the thing with media and Twitter and Facebook is it's so often misused and misconstrued. Not saying this was again, that's why my Facebook page, I'm pretty tame compared to, say, you. Steve's great. Steve's like it says, news, views, rumor, and humor. Everyone knows I give my opinion. I've written a few editorials in Westford. Everyone knows I'm pro-marijuana.
No way.
No way. But, that's the one thing is you just kind of...
No. You're pro medical marijuana, but you're anti-legalization. No, I'm kidding. That's not you at all. But I'm just saying that's
What?
That's the weird dichotomy that we have out there. Of
I am pro. If you want to feed marijuana to your cattle for feed, I don't care what you do with marijuana. It should just be legal.
fantastic.
I don't mean stone cows. I just mean like hemp. Maybe they like hemp. I don't know. I would if I was a cow.
Woo.
It smells stinky, huh?
It does.
It's a relatively clean piece, so.
Nice. Let me.
Good old Friday Ripper for you.
Yeah, no, it's
Friday Ripper for you.
It'd be fantastic. Do you have any other news stories for us, or what else should we talk about?
Well, there's that Ralphie May thing.
Yes, let's get into that.
So, TMZ breaks this story that Ralphie May, the big comedian, I think he may be from Texas but he lives in Florida or whatever. Big, large man, very funny guy, I think. That he says that he had been diagnosed with pneumonia and that it got worse and that he almost died because he's a 20-year weed smoker and was smoking 4 ounces of ganja a week plus hash and concentrates.
Oh, man.
So the man was smoking a pound a month plus hash and concentrates and said that he was coughing up balls of phlegm in his shower in the morning. And then since then, he's actually corrected this TMZ story I read elsewhere, and he said he's very, very much still pro marijuana. He was just saying for him, he needed to cut back. And I mean, who am I to judge? But a quarter pound a week?
I'm sure that there's people out there smoking.
I know there's probably people listening right now that are like, yeah, wuss. But I mean,
I'm at
that's
an elbow.
But, not all of us are well-paid comedians.
Dude, and I'm telling you, here's the deal.
Or have seas of green in our basement. What do you mean?
Dude, the whole pneumonia thing is no joke.
No, that is no joke.
You could really fart yourself.
No,
off,
I had
off some
pneumonia
bad
once.
Concentrates, and I'm not even kidding you. I think making butane hash oil one time, inhaling the butane, and being out in the cold ass weather that I made it in, I got pneumonia.
I got pneumonia one year. That's when I bought a vaporizer. And that's why I'm a big advocate for vaporizers for people with breathing problems, and just not for me.
I can't. I
haven't seen you with a super silver vape in your hand.
Usually it would be up there, but I took it home the other night because we got some may or may not have got samples from Rare Dagness.
I don't know why you can't say
legal
that.
means.
Yeah.
Just because they don't. Then we get they could come ask questions and be like, "How's it is? It is, and this," and then we have to be.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a legal patient under Amendment 20 of my state constitution. I'm allowed to possess marijuana.
There's certain means and ways that you have to obtain cannabis in the state of Colorado, and you can't just walk up to someone and say, "Hey, here you go." You
Sure you can.
You have to be inside a shop.
No, that's not true. I can give you marijuana as a friend. Where's Warren?
He's the one that'll argue this that this is that. Yeah.
I talked to Warren about this before.
I wonder if he's listening right now, and we will know here in a few seconds.
I don't want to misquote him though.
I'm pretty sure
passing a joint between patients?
Patient to patient.
Yeah, patient to patient.
Patient to patient sales is not kosher in Denver.
If you bought it from the dispensary.
Yes, that's good. But me to you, we got to be careful.
I don't think.
If I'm growing my personal marijuana and I'm my own caregiver and you're your own personal, hypothetically, we're speaking here.
You can't sell to me.
I can give you marijuana.
You might be able to give. That might be the point in difference. But even then, you got to be careful because there's people that have been prosecuted. That's where Warren. If we had the energy to get up and go grab him and pull him in here, but there's people that have been prosecuted in the city of Denver for patient-to-patient sales.
Wow. And
been successfully prosecuted for it.
How much weed are we talking about?
Little amounts.
Wow.
Well, what?
Like eighths.
Okay.
We got to get Warren in here because you can't have this accurate informative tag with that. Somebody go get Warren.
It looks like Warren is talking with somebody right now.
No, he's busy. We won't trouble him with our shit.
Go ask him if he can come in. He's always willing.
He's in the conference room.
Oh, he's in the conference room? Hey.
Yeah.
Never mind if he's in the conference room.
Either way.
I'm starving.
If he's busy in the conference room. he's
Either
probably
way,
not
I
busy.
see no problem with passing a joint or handing someone a bowl to be packed now or later.
I just say
Now or laters are
we
good.
had some nice samples that
I
we
like
had,
now or
and that's
laters.
how we had them, and don't worry about the rest of it.
Here he
Hey,
comes.
Now or later's. Hey,
Okay, so if this is a joint and I give it to you, I'm
Yeah.
distributing it.
Wait, hold on.
How is that legal?
You can't give it to another patient?
How is that legal? I distributed. How is that exchange legal?
sit down here. Sit down. We gotta get on
Because
the mic.
he's a medical marijuana patient and I'm a medical marijuana patient.
So?
Why, is it defined that it's
So?
illegal?
Well, no. Well, yeah, it is because that's
And-
distribution of marijuana.
See, your mind's blown.
My mind is.
So what's my excuse for breaking the law? And again, people will point to Amendment 20 and kind of the double negative
be a fat
section,
dude.
which I would too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, recently, the Michigan courts examining essentially that exact same language have held that patient-to-patient sales are crap. And that's what we were talking, or Georgia was talking about with Scott and Matt Abel from Michigan the other
Yeah,
day,
yeah.
because their Supreme Court is actually taking this issue up because their whole dispensary system was based on patient-to-patient
Patient-to-patient
sales. And it was July of last year that the judge ruled that it was no good. And so, yeah, I mean, it is a big debatable topic as to whether or not I
Let me
can
ask
do
you this
that.
one though. If a patient this is something I'm just thinking of. So I'm a patient and I can go into any dispensary currently in Colorado, correct? I mean, and I
Correct.
can go shop there.
Correct.
If someone's a licensed caregiver with under the amount, could I technically get from them before signing them up as my caregiver?
Well, they couldn't distribute marijuana
Without
to you
me being
without
licensed
you saying,
underneath
the
them.
excuse for that is I'm naming you as my caregiver.
I see.
Then we can get into this endless debate about the level of defense that caregiver gets.
I see.
Yeah.
In terms of the affirmative defense by just me telling you that.
I see.
Versus signing up with the registry, which would allegedly give you a better go away at the door defense.
Interesting.
And then also include extra plant numbers as
Probably
well.
going to give you a better go away at the door if you're not registered with the registry as a
When
caregiver.
you can't right now. I mean, you can with the Department of Health, but you can't with the Department of Revenue.
Really?
Yeah.
But they just released that form. I think here last week was it? I think.
I think so, but I
just
haven't
came
heard
out.
of them actually like accepting it, and
Okay.
you have to pay the $25 fee too.
Anyway,
Mine
And then it
is a
gets
little
more
blown.
complicated, well, though, because in Denver, of course, the city ordinance says you can't distribute for redistribution.
yeah.
That's ridiculous.
So that gets back up to okay. If I were a center owner and I distribute to you as a patient, that's legal. But if you talk about going home and giving it to your wife, even if she's a patient, all of a sudden I'm like in that head shop bong world. Where I'm like,
yeah.
oh, you didn't say that. You didn't say that.
That's the weird one.
So and because that also screws up the whole caregiver delivery thing that
It
Med
does.
set up.
Yeah.
Because clearly Med would allow a caregiver to do that, but then Denver says no. So I don't think Denver's figured it out.
You
yet.
can't make deliveries in Denver, period. Can you? Like, I mean, that's what
No,
you're
you
just saying.
can't
Yeah,
because you can't.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, actually, I think you could if you were a caregiver
Yeah.
and the patient
That's the
were
only-
homebound
that's
the
and
only
you
difference.
grew it yourself.
Yeah.
Abiding by their
What?
12-plant limit.
So you
I
can't.
was gonna say
so
that,
going to a
yeah.
dispensary, grabbing your medicine, because this is allowed, or was allowed at a certain point in time. Caregivers allowed to go to a dispensary, pick up patients
Yep.
pick up for a patient, and then go deliver it, would still be.
Couldn't do that in Denver.
You couldn't do that in Denver.
Because Denver city ordinance says the
Stupid.
centers can't sell for the purpose of redistribution. And in fact, that's supposed to be on
Fudge.
a sticker on their baggies or whatever container they distribute in.
Yeah.
That's one of the required things that has to go out the door in Denver is that this is not meant for redistribution.
So last night,
So-
I won't give out his name because he's
Yeah.
possibly one of our sponsors, but tweeted out that overregulation, they can have it. Mm-hmm. Is it overregulated beyond the point of where you think that it's really harming people right now, and just specifically the state of Colorado, putting people out of business unfairly?
Well, it's part of the factors putting them out of business. Yes, there are
Yeah,
numerous
obviously.
factors. Is it overregulated? Yes, hell yes. Because to get where we had to overregulate to convince enough people to allow this to happen.
But then we see this now backlash of certain, dispensaries not being able to pay or whatever it is. how do we fix it? How are we going to fix
well,
it?
Here's the harsh reality, though, Tim. I mean, I guess, what was it? Like, when was that silly thing that I went to? And I didn't say that. I went to a conference in Manhattan. And I spoke in part with Dr. Dale Geringer from NoCal, Northern California Normal. And Dr. Geringer had a bunch of economic studies from California looking at, roughly the number of patients a real live collective needed to, kind of sort of stay in the black unless they were really a true collective. And we were looking at, he was talking real rough, 400 to 600 patients, real rough. And we're talking totally different economic models, yada, yada, yada. But
That's
when you
a
start,
nonprofit.
yeah, well, yes, but yeah, right. Okay. I'm here. I'm not in California. Yeah, right. Let's pretend we're talking about for-profit. But anyway, 400 to 600 patients necessary to kind of stay in the black. And then we started crunching the Colorado numbers, where at the time we had about 120,000 patients. We had about 800 centers, and it was coming out to about 200 patients per center, which meant half of these places were going to go out of business for lack of business. And then when you throw in the rules and regs crap, and no banks, and no out-of-state investment.
The no banks has really been the big issue, too.
I mean, just... the line of credit. I mean, what freaking business in the real world doesn't have a line of credit? And these guys can't have it. But anyway, all those factors lead to, without the regs, we would have expected half to go out of business. So
because we haven't even seen half of the enforcement probably come forward. We're still seeing it be shifted. It's still in second gear right now. I mean, it's still getting up to speed. I think they're still doing their investigations. I mean, there's obviously things that are going on, and there's obviously busts, but I don't think that like the cameras, they're not really being too heavy. They're not being too heavy on some regulations, but if they do, it would really cause a problem for some people.
Well, and 1 second, let me literally walk over, and we can probably put it some here so you can show your viewers. I have one of the inspection things from Med that's like the final inspection paperwork, and you can kind of get an idea of the basic, how basic it is.
Yeah, I've seen it a few times, and it's weird. It's like literally like a
Warren Edson, ladies and gentlemen.
I know. I just compared him like a big chopper in the trunk that we pull out. It's just like.
Didn't mean to misquote you earlier, Warren. Like I said, I wasn't sure. I'm trying to find the story that I talked to someone. I remember asking another unnamed medical marijuana attorney, probably, if the regulations would make passing a joint between patients illegal, and they're like, certainly not. And I thought to myself, well, I don't see where it is, but I've been running with that for a while.
But the thing is, fact.
Fact sucks.
Facts is where it comes in, and where people have been prosecuted.
I know.
And but see, people on both sides have been prosecuted and been successful with getting away with it. So,
yeah, it's just best to avoid
that's what's kind of messed up.
Oh,
here.
wow.
Like, this is just a one-page thing. I mean,
That's the one page that,
checklist.
kind of the final walkthrough checklist Med does. And what's unique is they've merged all 3 licenses onto one page. We were, pretty surprised that it wasn't more. There weren't more things they were directly checking. But then you can see below, there are like areas for comments. And as you can tell, in most of these places, they did make an attempt to count plant numbers and kind of compare that with the alleged patient numbers of the center.
I see, yeah.
And, it's kind of like a driver's test in terms of clearly this person had some errors, but there weren't enough errors to cause them to fail.
Yeah. And that's what I've been told all along was, no one thing. Well, there are several things that can get you shut down pretty damn quick. But some of the smaller infractions are more, it's like with any business regulations. You get a fine, second time the fine's bigger, third time you can get shut down for a bit, like with the liquor industry, except for with way, way, way more regulation.
Well, and what this says, one of the things I think these guys weren't doing was they didn't have a good camera in their drying, weighing area. Back in the grow.
Licensed commercial lock needs to be put.
No, that was funny though, Tim, because the Med complained about a licensed commercial lock, and then I complained back that it was in the middle of the building, and that the fire marshal said that was not a good idea to have a licensed commercial lock there. And so, in fact, they'd taken the lock out after putting it in, and we got a wonderful letter back from Med saying that the fire marshal wins, and they didn't want people to burn up and die.
Wow.
So they got an exception.
Fire marshals will win anything.
Well, because again, it was about locking the growers in the middle of the goddamn building, potentially, if there's a fire. Not good. So
these cameras in grow rooms just made me think of, it's really absurd that we pay people to watch grass grow. in our society. Sorry, this is really like a profound thought this afternoon.
I don't
And
think
what's
that-
your job again? Wait a second.
I get paid to watch what people grow. And,
Okay.
okay,
Yeah,
never
no
mind.
problem.
Review what they grow. And review what they build, actually, is what it
And
is.
piss people off, apparently.
Dude.
But, like we're pointing out, they're on the rules,
honest.
but they aren't killing you on the rules. And they're trying to work a little bit with people. You're hearing me say a little bit
Yeah.
because there's some
Little.
stuff, screw you.
What is it?
There's
What's-
no
what's-
more tolerance for not having a grow. There's,
For what do you mean, not having a grow that's in compliance, is what you're saying?
without naming names, I mean, there's some folks who never quite got their grow in place, or their grow didn't get its proper CO or whatever, and they were kind of still in operation. And
Oh, I
Med
see.
let them play for a while, and now they're like, look, it's been a long while. You still don't have your grow up and running. 70-30, you need to do something.
Oh, yeah. 70-30
Obviously,
rule.
if your employees aren't badged, Med is finally like, okay, you've had a long time to get your employees badged now.
Yeah.
That's some pretty serious. If you don't, and granted, there's still like 3 weeks out in appointments in Denver and about 10 days out in Fort Collins. But
And I've heard a few people, not naming names, say, we're not too concerned about it right now.
well, yeah, I
Because
just
they're not enforcing it.
correct.
Same with
What
camera issue.
have you followed what's going on? We were talking about really earlier in Picken County at all with the centers out there.
Yes.
Been following that. What's I haven't gotten
actually-
word from them yet. But what are they going to be shutting down these centers? Are they going to give the chain or whatever to? They're going to give the government some time to figure it out there in Picken County. Do you know?
That is what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And actually, our law partner out there, Lauren Wolpen-Mayton, is right in Aspen in the mix of all that. in the
Very
center of it.
friendly cannabis area.
Well, I will be calling her soon.
She's been in most of the Aspen Time reports making quotes. The general gist coming from up there is they got caught flat-footed and they probably should have known better. But I said that, not Lauren.
But they should have. I mean, they should have. We knew this was going to happen. Like when you started bringing up this story, I started thinking back when this came, and I was like, this is not.
They chose to ignore it and not get involved in the stuff.
They
and
figured
were-
they could just let the state do it, and they clearly hadn't read, or
Every
whoever was
city
advising them
had
hadn't
to make
read.
regulations. I mean, you had to.
Yeah.
Well, and if you didn't, and here's the other problem, okay? There's been a lot of wiggle room with Med, right, on some of this stuff with the cities. So rumor has it, Med sent word to that county saying, do these folks have local approval? And if they'd said yes, that might have ended the whole problem. But they didn't say yes, and they didn't say no. They said, we don't have rules.
Because
don't
you,
know.
I don't.
And so that's like purgatory.
Because you weren't necessarily forced, like specifically as a local municipality, to regulate. You were just too okay, like right.
Well, that's what I mean. Your
that's the
rules
weird-
could have been,
like,
we don't
yeah.
care.
Yeah.
I mean,
but you
but-
had to say something.
Yeah, and
It
at the
could just
point-
be a checkbox, right? Like yes or no.
Yeah, well, in some places it kind of is like that,
Which is fantastic. I like it.
Well, okay, I can. I don't think this calls them out. I mean, drive up I-70 and hit Downeyville. It's hysterical, in a good way. There are two places and like a ski rental and a Burger King.
That's right. Oh yeah, the Rasta colored. Yeah, I've been wanting to go there.
There are
Of
two
course
centers.
Will's
Yeah.
been
There are
Of
two
course
centers.
Will's-
There's a Burger King, two gas stations, and that's like it.
Damn, I'm going there this weekend.
So basically. So there are places that are
Hit 'em
like
up for
that. And if
advertising
they'd
for
said,
us.
yes, they're locally approved, we wouldn't be having this. And I am hoping they're going to patchwork together some rules really quick. They have enough examples of the cities. They should be able to do it without it killing them off.
Yeah.
And just get that done.
Yeah.
Because it's a cannabis-friendly community. I'm not getting a real vibe that they want
That
to
they
shut
wanna
anything
shut it down.
down. They
They
just didn't
don't.
want to deal with the hassle, man.
This is an area where they, this is an area where,
Long time running, they haven't given a damn about
dude,
stuff like that.
Hunter Thompson almost took over the
Hunter
damn area.
Thompson was king of the town, so let's put that into perspective.
Like
So-
almost took over the whole damn area. So, and pretty
Well,
much,
we won't get into their sheriff or mayor and
None of that now.
Marshall and those guys. Hey,
but and still, even though
landlord is in the building.
even though that sheriff is still not in the.
No, it doesn't appear they were waving, not complaining.
I just
Okay,
guys, yeah, you completely like.
Hey,
I
guys,
was like,
it smells
talk
like
about
skunks out
talk
there.
about sheriff.
But-
No, what was that? What was the sheriff's name there in Aspen?
Broadus.
yes.
Bob Rodas, yeah,
Yep.
Sheriff Bob Rodas, and he was a good friend of Hunter Thompson, and didn't enforce the drug laws. in Aspen, really.
Well,
If they were
more like
forced
he
to.
didn't have the local police department assisting the federal government in any capacity. Which makes it very hard for them to do their job. And what, about every 5 years, the feds would try something up there, and it would create a scandal because the DEA would be do an undercover bust in one of the bars and get somebody famous.
Yeah.
But even possession, I even thought it was possessions. They were like, sort of.
The feds didn't care much about possession of weed. It was blow.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
locally, I mean, it was like the local, like the sheriff didn't want to do any type of drug interdiction stuff, and there was always kind of this battle between the police and him, and then the police finally gave up at a certain point because it wasn't any good.
Well, again, he no assistance. He
Yeah.
did not help with that.
Yeah,
Which there's also the one that you couldn't make
why he's reelected multiple times.
an
Yes.
anonymous tip, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There's something about it, like they wouldn't take anonymous
Nope.
tips.
And
which is
recently
really
here, though,
good.
the feds did come in and bust up a huge cocaine
Yes.
distribution ring, and it was a bunch of older people. And I'm not saying
Yeah.
like older. I'm just saying, like, why do you give a fark about these maybe richer older? Like,
And it actually happened just before last year's normal legal conference, and it created a real weird vibe at the legal conference
because there's no cocaine.
No,
I did not.
Sorry, you saw that coming.
I had nothing to say in that one.
Except unless you've been, you can quickly recognize that most of the crowd's having trouble staying awake.
I'm
Probably
kidding.
good that they're no longer on the Northern
yeah,
Network
and-
with that one. I
yeah.
may have had to edit that one out.
And then we'll get into, like, last year was probably the first year many of them experienced dabs, and that just had them asleep on the floor. But that's a whole
Yeah.
nother story. No, it was just more like the fact that the DEA had come in and penetrated a local scene that thought they were
Yeah.
impenetrable, that there had been some vague threats made out at some of the other locals around. A lot of the local attorneys were friends with and or represented some of the people that had just been busted.
Oh,
So there
that
was some
sucks.
concern of, does that mean they're going to be up, showing up at the parties? Are they going to show up at the Goldstein's house? Are they going to show up at Hunter's place?
Yeah.
I mean, because that was all in full swing last year. And it got to the point where Normal hired security at all the major venues that they had events at, just to put a layer there just in case
Yeah.
something happened and nothing happened.
That's a good idea. I mean, it's a good
you
idea.
know.
I've been through security training before, and that's definitely one of the first things you should always do if you're looking for. If their police are going to be in a situation, and put a block up for them first and give you a little bit of time. What you're looking for is time.
Walk out the back door. It's like when they came to serve William Breeze a subpoena the other day.
That was awesome.
That was really good.
What?
Yeah, you got
I can maybe talk about this now.
Are you
just briefly.
serious?
This is awesome.
No way. William Breeze, like actually William Breeze.
William Breeze got
See, I don't tell him
served-
everything.
I'm not. No,
Holy
I got served a
crap-a-moly.
subpoena, and it
As William
it's-
Breeze.
As William Breeze,
fictional character.
a figment of my imagination.
I'm getting cold chills right now because it's amazing.
Look out, John Doe.
Nothing has happened since. In fact,
kidding. You're not kidding.
it's been how do you say quashed? I don't know the word.
Squashed.
Actually, yeah, that's right.
Quashed.
Bam, legal words.
Boom.
So that's gone, but I thought that was really funny.
Dude.
I didn't mean to change subject so quickly on that one, but
That may or may not. Dude, I may talk about you. I don't even know if you can talk about that at all off or on the record or whatever. But I'm worried at some point in time in here that somebody would get ticked off with something I said, and maybe I would be served something. But I'm like,
It's gotten to fictional levels. Where, I mean, again, it's like a Carl Hyazon book. I mean, what? He got served as his character at the what?
I'll just say
Yesterday-
this: the look on the poor woman's face, who has nothing to do with anything.
The
except
process server.
Yeah, she's just
Yeah.
the process server's just handing it to me. Poor lady's just making a living, and she had to deal with me laughing at her and trying to explain to her what was going on, and why it was so funny. And she was like, I gotta call my boss.
so can you legally be served that though? If that's an
Well,
AKA?
how does she verify that it's William Breeze? I mean, he doesn't have anything on him that says, I mean,
I put on sunglasses and a bandana. I'm like, look.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's crazy. But then also in the back of my mind, I am thinking there is.
Well, and now
I never
you're going to
went there.
have all your nice friends sending subpoenas just for fun.
Yeah.
No, don't do that.
I'm thinking Mad Hatter's already got one coming.
Line up.
Oh, God.
You're screwed.
To them. I'm in a lawyer's office, just so everybody knows. Just so everybody
You're now
knows.
insulated by several sets of doors too. Which
We
is
put him
really
even
good.
farther back.
You know that insulation level I was talking about a minute ago? We did the best that we could. So pretty damn good, I think. And thank you for moving us a few doors back too, because there was that just a whole look around the corner thing that we had, and the lock the door thing, and now we got double.
That's what did it. Was the discussion of locking the door the other week, wasn't it?
It had to be. It had to be. No, there's a few other things, but that's
You're
neither
like, no,
here,
really, the locking of the door.
neither here nor there.
Exactly.
The ultimate of everything. All right, so big thanks to Warren Edson for coming in and hanging out
No
with
problem,
us. giving
guys.
us,
I'll
filling
see you
us in.
later.
It's like
Warren.
I got to go back to coloring the board.
we got a big machine gun in the trunk of our car, and we pull it out, and it has the name Warren Edson on it. That's sometimes.
Yeah, we're coloring the green parks on the map in the
Oh,
conference
that
room.
seems so fun. I have
So-
I have an experiment going with that. You'll see soon.
Because Rob Corey probably is going to push them into enforcing the park range where they normally wouldn't. And man, Rob kept me out of prison. I will say, I really
Back
think
slowly out of this conversation and radio program.
Well, and further frames down at 8th and Santa Fe put some really cool glass on our poster so we can color it and erase it. So that's the fun part. Yeah, yeah.
I
So
just
we're
don't-
using different colors. For
I'm just.
different
It's
things.
all I'm saying with that is that Rob Corey's fighting with a flamethrower, and we're not necessarily at not all of us want to fight a flame. Like, damn it! Why'd you pick up the flamethrower?
Well, did you guys determine at Westward if that really was him who replied this morning with the?
I haven't even checked in
Okay.
with home base yet.
But still, he originally.
You know, they published the article about the response to the bluff comment, and then somebody saying they're Rob.
Yeah, we talked about it at
posted-
the beginning of the
Okay,
show.
I mean that was just.
posted that.
I'm
that-
sure they're on top of
Well,
it.
if
I
it's
know
a
that
bluff,
they're on
of
top
course
of
they
it.
wouldn't tell you that they're bluffing.
Yeah.
It sounds like him.
It's not too hard to get. It's not too hard to get a hold of Rob. So I mean, I'm sure that.
Well, I'm sure Mike Roberts is
right
calling
now.
him, and they figured it out. If it is him, they'll let it stand. If not, they'll find out it wasn't him, and they will pull it. So
pull it.
Yeah.
that's really the only time we ever pull it is when people say there's someone they're not. And if you're like spamming some really racist stuff, like
Yeah.
like don't be an ass.
Don't be an ass.
I mean, you can be an
hat.
ass. That's fine. That's the internet. But don't be like a racist dumbass or something.
Because that
I mean,
would
you
just
can be that in your own self, like whatever. Like I'm not gonna. I will judge you, but like keep it to yourself,
I will judge you.
and then I won't have to judge you.
Exactly. Actually, no. I like people that don't keep things like that to themselves.
That they're racist, and you can just stay away from
Then I
them.
don't have to stand near them. I don't have to be around them. It's fantastic.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Will, for hanging out with us today.
Yeah, man, this is a lot of fun.
Every Friday, we'd love to get you in here. I know that there's some days that you got stories and other things that you need
Yes,
to get to.
this next week I will hopefully be able to make it. I may have a date. We're finishing up that story on cannabis and high altitudes and
Cannabis, high altitude.
smoking marijuana in
It does good.
alpine environments.
Smoke weed in high altitude. It's probably what you'll conclude.
I've already concluded.
I know, I just concluded that.
My high altitude research has.
This is just some more scientific deep.
I've smoked at 14,000 feet several times.
Really?
Yeah, above 14,000.
Really?
Really? Yeah, I guess I can admit to this shit. Who cares? Yeah, we have several 14ers in this state.
Yeah, I know, but there's. If you.
There's a lot of wind.
That's above tree line.
Yeah, you just duck down up
Way
in the big
above
rocks
tree
up
line.
there, and with one of the jet torch lighters.
Paul Token has film of him when he went up to the Pikes Peak
Pikes
rally.
Peak, yeah.
of
I
it.
love that. That
Damn.
video is one of my favorite videos of him.
And it is one of my favorite pastimes to just fly up to the middle of nowhere as high as you can and toke, and it's just beautiful. We used to go romping right out of high school.
There's
and-
nothing better than experiencing nature and getting out and exploring our parks, because they are our parks.
But I don't like it around here. I got to get like 3 hours away from, since I lived in 3-4 hours away from Denver for a while. It's not like getting away from Denver.
I'm not
for
talking
me,
about
and-
like going to Estes Park, dude. I'm talking about like, get out to the San Juans.
Well, I'm just telling
go
the-
lose yourself.
I'm
for
just
a-
telling the
for a
good
day.
people of the
the
chat
good
room.
people, the good people in the chat room should go
And-
hang out for a good week in the Maroon Bells and just hang out.
Yeah, the
I'm
sand
not saying do
dunes,
anything bad, just hang out.
The sand dunes. There's other places, other awesome.
Did I incriminate myself?
He's like, oh, he needs a green marker.
I saw Warren walk in and I was like, what? What did I do?
What did I do?
Incriminate myself?
Yeah, if you ever see a lawyer coming at you pointing with a finger,
I know. I ducked. Did you see me cower like a kid? I was like, oh no.
you get a little nervous.
Not even my attorney. All right, guys.
Woo!
Yeah,
Big thanks, man.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, big thanks. No worries, man. We kept you for a long time today. If you, dude, stop by and toke sometime, man.
Well, I'm free up this weekend too.
I'm so lonely, so very lonely.
I would not have made it fun.
Oh yeah, we would have had your phone covered.
Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, have a great day, man. William Breeze from westward.com/latest word. Mile highs and lows. Please check him out. Everything that he does. Please check out our sponsors and everything that they do. Got a list for you here. If you're in Denver, please go ahead to a cut above 1911 South Broadway. Also, Compassionate Pain Management. Some of the coolest people that we've got to meet here recently and work with. We work with them on Mondays. Holler at them and give them your business. They have 2 locations, Louisville and then Lakewood. Tell them the John Doe Radio Show sent you. Also, big thanks to Mad Hatter Smoke Shop. Big thanks to the Pink House Group, Cherry Company, Pearl Company, and Teapot Lounge. The strain of the day at the Teapot Lounge. You make sure you check it out. Go get this. Scott's Blue. Oh my God. I may have to go to the Teapot. If they've got Scott's Blue at the Teapot, I may have to be there. Wait, I don't have any money. Damn. Scott's Blue at the Teapot Lounge, strain of the day. Do not miss it. If you have a chance, you're a Colorado patient, go try it. I hear it is the shizzle. Oh my goodness. Also, Platte Valley Dispensary, check them out. $20 grams of hashishi concentrate, rare dankness, raredankness.com. Also, big thanks to the good people, good friends that make the show possible and have made the show possible for years now. Adam Dunn and TH Seeds, Hemp Hoodlum. Make sure you go hang out at First Friday coming up for the art show. 629 Santa Fe in Denver. DudeGrows.com. Make sure you check out DudeGrows.com. GrowWise, 3225 South Wadsworth Boulevard in Lakewood. 3225 South Wadsworth Boulevard in Lakewood. He was just in, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Warren Edson. Edson Maintenance Mats, 3888 East Mexico Avenue. Suite 122 is where we're located. Edson Maintenance Mats. Now, none of that talk earlier was an invitation for anybody to come at us, all right? Like, I feel like sometimes when you put up walls to protect yourself, which we didn't put up walls to protect ourselves here in the lawyer's office. It wasn't necessarily how it happened on purpose. Just how it happened. We're lucky. Awesome. But sometimes people feel like they got to, like, poke at that wall. Just don't poke at our wall. We'll blow smoke over at you. Maybe toss a couple buds a couple times. Just don't send anything. Sherman Tank! Dude, I did that horribly. Sherman Tank! I can't do it high enough like Pauly Shore does. Like in Biodome. Ultimate fail there, double twice. But, you know, Biodome, where he does the Sherman Tank and then runs into the airlock door. That's fantastic. It's my favorite movie almost in the world. Anyway, that's enough of that. Big thanks to Mile High Wellness. LittleManHosting.com. If you need hosting, go to Little Man Hosting. That's a huge paid sponsorship, actually. LittleManHosting.com. Been getting some emails here recently from the hosting thing, and he's like, don't worry about it. And I'm like, all right, good times. I'm not going to worry about it. And last but not least, our good friend, Adam from handmadeapparel.biz. Adam Hand, thank you. I still need a new hat, Adam. Kim wants a purple pullover. Make sure you holler at the giveaways, too. The Ganja Gala giveaway. Got your last chance today. Email us right now, johndoeradiogiveaway@gmail.com if you'd like to go to the Ganja Gala. Also, Token Tops, have a few of those still, tokentops.com. Token Tara, awesome herself for her to hook us up with those. Token Tara, tokentops.com. And the Silver Surfer Vaporizer giveaway that I think we might have missed this month. I don't know. We still giving away, though. SilverSurferVAP.com is where you can head for that. John Doe Radio giveaway at gmail.com. All right, that's going to do it for this week of the John Doe Radio Show. Friday, January 20th. Have yourself a fantastic weekend. Smoke too much. Enjoy it. If you would like to come communicate with me and hang out, I'm always on Facebook, always hanging out. Trying to be a little less of a downer than usual. Stress, man. You can come hang out, though, and sit down and chat. I love sitting down and chatting with anybody. Sometimes I don't get to the private messages as much as I'd like to because I do get a lot of them and just spammed a lot with everything that's on Facebook. But the posts and stuff, you can post on my wall if you're my friend. Just come and hang out. Give me show ideas. Gives me the gusto and the fire of the next week, to be able to sit down and talk about other stuff too. So I like getting those ideas. And why email me, johndoe@johndoeradio.com, when you could just go to Facebook, look me up, Tim Martin, post directly in my wall, or get in directly with a conversation. I guess if you really, really, really want to get my attention, email me, johndoe@johndoeradio.com, because I do check those very heavily. It's weird. During that conversation right there, that little dialogue with myself, that little monologue, I started thinking about how communication has changed over the years with email and text messaging and stuff. And like now everybody Facebooks. And it seems it's deep. It really is. It's a deep thing to talk about. You could probably have a whole show on that. Anyway, have yourselves a fantastic weekend. For Kim, for Phil, for everybody that makes the John Doe Radio Show possible, for all our sponsors, thank you guys very much for keeping a roof over my head. I cannot thank you enough and tell you how awesomely serious I am when I say that. Appreciate you all. Appreciate Warren for letting us have this office and space. Have yourselves a fantastic weekend. Smoke too much. Holler at me. See ya.
Produced by Charlie Entertainment. The John Doe Radio Show programming is not limited to, but includes information and humor on counterculture subjects that is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. We specifically include responsible marijuana reform. Besides, listening to anyone but your mother is stupid. We accept no responsibility for your actions or misrepresentations, and we do not fully endorse the use of illegal drugs. You are ultimately responsible for yourself.
John Doe Radio. Radio.
Radio.